It was, on one hand, it was very stressful. We didn't know where we were going to end up. I had a goal. We wanted to be in top 10.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Top of the Hunt. Today, we've got a guest with us who's created a product that I think solves many people's problems who've been using generative AI for image generation. And it's over to Andraz. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Andraz. I'm CEO and founder of Katalist. I'm super excited to be on your pod and looking forward to talk about launch.
Okay, could you give me a bit about your background? What led you to being here today?
For sure. Originally studied computer science back in college. I've been working in tech ever since, worked in various products from fintech to workplace productivity, and finally spent a couple of years, 3 years in advertising tech. They've really been working on helping big brands like Nike and Spotify and Adidas automate their digital creative production. And I've really been very deeply into the space of how creatives are being created and how this is being automated, how this works with these big brands. And so I've been thinking a lot about how we can help apply generative AI into this space, right? Whether it's just creating concepts or making videos. And I've now ventured way outside of just advertising into more general kind of video creation, video production, and started building a product called Katalist. We started working on this in summer of last year. And we've luckily built a product that people like, and we went product hunt and launched it.
Can you tell me more about Katalist? What does it do? What problems is it trying to solve for people?
So I think a big part of video production is this pre-production process. And because in general, video production is a very time-consuming and expensive thing to do, right? I think a lot of people want to do it. It is a brand or as maybe a content creator or a copywriter, right? But it's just out of hand for so many people because of how intensive it is. We wanted to speed it up and make it more efficient and more accessible. And we wanted to start with pre-production because I think that's the part that AI can solve the best right now, because it's still the part that doesn't get seen by the final audience. So there is some leeway. It's not so hard to deal with maybe AI kind of artifacts and what it does. But still it offers a lot of advantages when you automate this process. So instead of having to sketch out maybe 20 or maybe 100 kind of panels of storyboard to either present to a customer as an agency or get internal approval, we instead automate this with AI so that you can go to production faster, you can explore more ideas, and in the end you can make adjustments faster and get through that production stage much faster than you would if you would be doing this by hand.
Or perhaps not being able to achieve it at all if you don't have the skill sets.
Exactly.
So it's going to open up to a lot of people. I can see why you've been popular so far. So one of the key things it does is allows people to create one character that can stay with them consistently.
Yeah.
That's something that I've seen a lot of people try to use. Our designer had a shot of Mid-Journey before, and we were saying, oh, this is awesome. Look what we can create. And then she was like, yeah, no, but look at how different this person is versus I've asked for an office picture with the same person in 3 times, and it's 3 different people, clearly. And it says they look similar, and then when you look closer, they don't. So I can see why people have enjoyed that. So from there, you've launched on Product Hunt, and it's been successful. How did you find the experience?
It was, on one hand, it was very stressful. We didn't know where we were going to end up. I had a goal. We wanted to be in top 10. And if we got there, we'd say it's a success. And if we got any higher up on the leaderboard, I think it would have been an even bigger success. And we didn't know. We started our place on number 8, which was pretty good, but we thought we were going to do better. And we hustled all day, getting people to upvote us. And we ended up in 4th place in the end. But we didn't know. I know when I logged off for the day, because we're here in Europe, Product Hunt runs on, I think, Pacific time. So midnight for them is much later than it is for me. And I couldn't stay up all night. And I wonder where we're going to end up when I wake up. And we lost the place, but it's fine. But it's pretty stressful. But at the same time, reading all the comments, people left, and not just the people that we reached out to and say we're Product Hunt, people that came from Product Hunt were in our audience before, coming with all these very supportive and very energetic, really positive comments, how much they love the product, they tried it out, it's really cool. people telling us, "Oh, this is the future of storytelling." It was, I think, for myself, and I'm sure for the team as well, it was like such an energizing experience. It really, I think, gets you going, even like when you haven't been sleeping for a while, getting everything ready for the launch and looking forward to take some time off. So it's most stressful, but a very positive experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. When we look in the morning, then midnight is sort of breakfast time-ish in the UK, about 7 o'clock. So it's convenient time to start, but obviously in 24 hours time, it's not a convenient time to finish, is it? So did you spend a lot of time preparing for your launch, or was it just right then Tuesday, we're going to launch on Thursday and that's it, we're gone?
No way. So we started planning this a month before we launched. I didn't lose all by myself. I'm very lucky to have like a really amazing team with me. The key players here were our growth marketer, Laura, and our advisor, May. So they were in charge in putting together this plan of how we actually structured all the activities to get to the launch date. Basically, I think we used some kind of a template that our advisor used in the past when he launched the product a couple of years ago. And that's our blueprint for getting started. And so there's some main things that we want to do. Like the number one thing is we want to lock in a good hunter to make sure that we have somebody who's going to give us reach, that has some credibility in the community. And so that was one of the first tasks, to get somebody to agree to be our hunter. And that's something we did like weeks before. I think we had Jakob locked in maybe 2 or 3 weeks before we launched. And then after that, we did all the materials. So it's get into preparing all the kind of slides to go into the gallery and writing the copy, and then also writing like all the emails that we will send out and planning how we're gonna talk to our community, because we have some people in Discord, we have some followers on LinkedIn. We want to let everybody know we're a product fan so they could support us as well. So those are kind of like the things that we were working on.
An interesting approach. I've seen a few people go down the route of taking an influencer and then perhaps not doing any of the groundwork themselves. And it looks like it falls a bit flat, because I think that the influence is fantastic for early traction on the day. But then obviously it's down to your team to keep pushing it and make it successful on the day, which, as you've said, is a very stressful process at the best of times. It sounds interesting. So obviously from there, you've had a lot of people come through to your website and a lot of people sign up. Have they been valuable customers, or have the majority of them just been looking around, playing with it a little bit, and then not coming back and not saying anything?
I'd say majority of people were just looking around. And I think that's to be expected, because our product is not like it's niche, right? It's not something everybody would use every day. For example, I know we had some other products launched that were like, I think it was like a Gmail plugin for writing follow-ups, I believe, which is something that when I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is a product everybody could use, right? Everybody writes email, but not everybody produces video, right? Or they feel like they should. Yeah. And we already had like I think a sub-segment of the product hunt audience that would be interested in this product, but like really an actual user or a customer. So I think lots of people were interested because it's like an interesting product. We're using like generative AI, I think in a pretty cool way. I think it's cool to see, but in the end, maybe for a lot of people on product hunt is not something that they would use every day, or they would use enough that they would justify paying for. So not very many people converted to a paying customer. I would say just a couple of, that's just off the top of my head. I don't have the actual number in front of me here, but it was not very many. It was like 1% or something.
I think because obviously we've got a designer in our team who's used tools like, well, I don't say like yours, because where they generate images. So on that basis, they're similar, but obviously the rest of the functionality around it's not. And she loved it as soon as she saw it. She thought, this is amazing. And then obviously for us, when we're looking, technical co-founder, he looks and he's like, I don't understand why this is valuable to us. And she explains it to him. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I can see it now. And I think for a lot of design and development teams, as you said, perhaps in agencies, when you get round to promoting it more into larger agencies and companies that have got specific style guides, etc., there's going to be a lot more success and higher conversions in there, because they have that need and that urgent burning desire to let me save 12 hours a week on this or however long it may save. I can see why it's been more for now, but I wouldn't have thought that was discouraging. But from there, is Product Hunt then going to be some of your continued go-to-market, or are you not going to come back again? What do you think?
Yeah, right now we don't have a concrete plan just yet. If we're gonna go back to Product Hunt, we're considering it for sure. I think the next thing we want to work on is video. It's just highly popular request by current customers. And so this is going to be the next big release for us, and we will definitely want to promote it. And we are considering launching on Product Hunt again when we have that feature. It is something a lot of other makers do as well. But considering really the audience is not perfect, maybe we'll find a better place to do it. Even though right now, I don't know of any kind of candidate that would be potentially better right now. Maybe target an audience is a little bit better. But at the same time, what I really like about Product Hunt is that it's a built-in community. And if your product gets an traction like ours did when we launched, you can get a lot of people to see it, that it just spreads, right, to that user base. So I think it's a very serious kind of consideration for the next launch.
For the next one, what are you going to do differently? I can imagine first off is get somebody on your team in American time zone at least.
To be honest, we didn't make a plan for that yet. So just talking out of the top of my head, the things that we noticed we didn't do quite right is I think we were like 1 hour late with launching. And when we submitted, I think it's really important to post your product at midnight Pacific time. So that you have the most, because at the start, right, everybody starts at 0, and people that build the most uploads, they get to be featured. And you really want to be featured to get the people to see you and upload you. And so when we posted, we had to wait like 30 minutes to get approved. And at the same time, there were already products on that had 20, 30 uploads that we had to catch up with. And I think if we post this earlier at 5 minutes or midnight or something like that, we would have been in a little better position. Because I think as soon as when you're at 0, getting those 10, 20 uploads, it's like the start, you gotta break through that. And then when somebody else has 100 uploads and you got just 30, right? It just feels like you're in this 5th, 6th place that you need to catch up. And I would make sure that we would get product in an hour earlier than we did. And I think that's the main one, honestly. I wonder if we could promote this more to get more people to upload it. But I feel like because it does resonate with as much of the audience of Product Hunt as other products probably did, it would be hard to get more uploads because we're a little bit more niche. So I'm not sure what else we could do to try to get the number 1. But yeah, I would aim to get the number 1 if we launched again. But I feel like we already done everything we knew we could do to get to this place that we did with the first launch.
Yeah. So does that mean from there that you created the launch page on the day, or that you'd already created a pre-launch that was ready to go, but you still have to set it as active? Is that how that works?
So what we did is we created the launch page on the day of the launch. And I think it was probably because we're doing this for the first time. And we're also running later, doing everything, right? To be honest, we were polishing up all the images and all the stuff the day before. And then the page had to be created by our hunter. And so we just sent over the materials to him and he did it on the day off. So I think we should have just done that the day before, but I think we just didn't know we could do it. So it was definitely some of those things that when you haven't done it, you just don't know. And I think another thing that I probably did, I didn't even tell this to the team because it was a little embarrassing, is that when you get invited to be a maker, you get an email and it says, claim your maker role, and it says, what's your email, right? And I was invited to my, I think, Product Hunt account, which is a different email than my work account is, because I have this, I had this before we started the company, this Product Hunt account. Claim, it says, oh, we need to manually verify you. I was like, shit. Okay, now this is gonna take, and I think this added 20 minutes to extra because they verified my accounts. And and when I saw that message, I was like, shit, this is 1 a.m. in California. If their support is in California, we're going to get approval in 8 hours or something like that. It's not good. but they approved in
Yeah.
15 minutes. But it was super stressful because you can't revoke that, you can't cancel, start again, stuck there. So definitely don't do that. Make sure you use the same email you're registered with to confirm that and make the page, create a page the day before.
Yeah. I can imagine that was one of the longest 15 minutes of your life.
Yeah, it was super stressful.
So you've been successful on Product Hunt. What's next for Catalyst now? I saw something about AppSumo. Are you prepared to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So we launched the AppSumo. It's awesome. I think the feedback is just as great as on Product Hunt. And AppSumo is really great at offering a really good deal. And so they generate a lot of sales. So we've really been selling a lot with AppSumo. It's really been a lot of revenue, which is great. And we're just, now we're just working to sustain this AppSumo campaign throughout the entire basically campaign period to get as much out of it as possible. And then next, we're just going to start two things we're planning for. One is the next launch. So we're going to have video, how we're going to launch that. And then the second is just how we're going to use this momentum to continue our acquisition strategy, basically, right? Even though we didn't get a lot of sales from Product Family off, I think a lot of people reach out to us. We got some publicity. And so we just want to use that momentum, talk about, we already started talking about how we did in Product Hunt, but now we're also at number 5 product of the week in a couple of categories. So we're going to use that to continue building this momentum. And we really want to focus on content marketing. And so with people coming over and using the product and creating things, I think we're now in a position where we can grow this community and get new people join based on just talking more about the product and what people are making. We want to use all that momentum.
It makes a lot of sense. It's 2 springboards you've used. There's no point landing with a flat splash. You might as well make the most of it. It's an interesting way of doing it. I've heard a few people who talk very negatively about AppSumo launches. Some of them seem to have a very different perspective that they get charged too much and that they didn't like the quality of some of the customers because they've came and perhaps they can never sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about how you're going to get around that later on with, I suppose, the video is technically a different product, isn't it? So if somebody was to want to use the images, then they're going to have to buy the video separately, aren't they?
Yeah. So at AppSumo commissions, very high. They're very high. There's no way around that. Even having negotiated with them, they're still high. I think if you look at this deal in a vacuum, it's a horrible deal. But I think there's 2 things to take into account. I think on one hand is AppSumo actually does a lot of work for you to promote the product, both paid advertising, affiliate, and through featuring you on their app store. And then the other part is that when you're early stage like us, right? We're a new company. We don't have a ton of money, right? We actually, this is a investment to us, right? We offer this deal. We get more money up front that we can invest into development. And even if these customers might not end up being super profitable for us, I mean, it definitely won't be super profitable for us. It's still added value because we have money up front that we can spend on salaries, we can spend on investment, and we also get publicity, right? We get a ton of people talking about the product, and we also get a ton of people using it, which is really great because we have hundreds of feedback people have added to our portal, which is super useful for understanding which direction the product should go, right? Where should we invest? So while the commission is high, it still made sense for us to use this opportunity. I think if we're a more established company or doing stable revenue and we're in this phase where we really want to grow as fast as possible, I wouldn't take this deal because I think we could probably, we could just skip the middleman. But in this, in our situation example where we're new and we really want to skip this reinvestment part where we make $1,000 and then you reinvest and just maybe get $20K in bulk and then just invest 10,000 into, let's say, marketing. It's a little bit of a shortcut for us.
There's a difference, obviously, perspective of how successful the launch has been. So I think if somebody's went on AppSumo and it's not been particularly successful and they've not made any real money from it, then they're looking at it very negatively. And then obviously on the flip side, it's if you're going to have a good campaign, you're now looking and thinking, right, so if we were to look at the cost of goods sold now for our advertising and all the things that would go into it, would we be receiving a similar amount from these sales just now as the commission we get? And the answer might be no, maybe yes, but could be very close. So obviously when you're first starting out, it's very important to make sure you've got those things sorted out properly. And I think one of the things that benefits you right now, at least on the short term off the back of both of these springboards you've used, is you've got a term called salience in marketing. So that's how much people see you. And right now they're going to see you everywhere, which then makes your later acquisition hopefully a lot easier. So it does make sense from that perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And if your campaign doesn't end up working out, it's very risk-free for you, right? You haven't invested any money into marketing because AppSumo take care of that. And if we did a launch like that, we probably have to use $10,000, have a budget for doing all this type of reach. And if we didn't sell, it'd just be a sunk cost. And in this example, if it didn't work out, it wouldn't be. But I'm very happy to say it's been selling great. We've been number one selling product that launched on Monday, and we've been the number two in all of the AppSumo store. So it's been working really well. I'm really happy with how it's gone.
Well, I'm glad it's working out for you. It's nice to hear a success story on there as opposed to they took my money and I didn't get much back from them. You knew what you were getting into before you signed. It's not as if they hide things.
No, of course not.
So it's fantastic. So did you intend for the two of them to be so close?
No, this is us running late with the product hunt, but because of how AppSumo kind of plans everything out, it's really hard to move the date. And they really discourage you to move the date. They told us, look, if you're going to be late and you're going to have to move the date, we're going to probably reschedule this in a couple of months. I'm not sure if they would actually do that. Maybe they would find us an earlier spot, but they really don't want you to reschedule because they actually take on a ton of work. They create the video for us. They create a lot of content for us. And they probably also like running all these campaigns like affiliate and so on that they need to plan and schedule. And so we were running late with product hunt and we were actually at a point where we said, look, AppSumo is going to be in a week. We need to launch now. It's like, we can't move it any further. Otherwise we're going to do we can't do 2 launches in span of a couple of days. It's going to be overwhelming. And it's also going to be weird launching with 2 platforms at the same time and offering different offers. The plan was just not as solid as we thought it was. And we should have probably tried to have more of a buffer between the 2 launches because I think spacing them out would have been better. Right now we launched on Wednesday and product hunt. We barely got through. We're still even though we didn't get a lot of customers, got a lot of users to use it. And there's still, a lot of work associated with supporting those people, answering questions or problem found, making sure everything is scaling. The team is fully focused on that. And then on Monday, we do it all over again. It would have been better to have a couple of weeks in between, not just to take a breather, but also to collect all the feedback, see what we can do better, how we can improve the product. Because during the launch, we're not really doing active development. We need everybody with all hands on deck. And so definitely my advice to myself, future self, and to others is definitely don't do that. It's not a disaster, but it would have been better if we had a month in between.
Sounds like it should be, but it might be interesting for you to ask the product hunt community or give them information about your AppSumo launch to see how many of them then come and sign up. And it'll also be interesting to find out how many people on AppSumo had recently seen you on product hunt, because it might be that you've struck a tactic that other people have never tried that could be incredibly successful, because it's so quick succession that people wouldn't have forgot your name yet.
Yeah.
So there could be some benefit there. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I guess it is one of those things when you're a young company and you don't have experience and you're doing some things that don't make sense because you made a mistake and ends up being a success unintentionally. It might be one of those. And I don't even know because I don't have any data to compare to say, did we do better, did we do worse? And nobody's complained. Nobody said, oh, I took the product hunt deal and then you launched a lifetime deal. I feel so that hasn't been a problem. But we didn't sell it from product hunt anyway. So I think it's all right.
It's great. My co-founder often, there's a few things that he said before, a bug that's turned into a feature. And there's a few things that he's made and it's just at first we're looking, this is a bit weird. And then he tries to fix it. I can't fix it, or it's going to take too much time to go and fix this problem now for the time frame we have left. So it's just going to stay. And then we get used to it and then we like it. So maybe there's something like that for your go-to-market there. Obviously, you've been successful on both platforms, yet to be fully determined the long tail effects. You need to have more time and information for both launches to see how they've done. But what's next for Catalyst? I know you mentioned there's some video. So what's that going to look like for people? Because I saw you had an advert with Volvo, or a Volvo car in your demo. Is that something that's close to happening?
Well, this is a little bit away. Right now,
Okay.
stage where we offer this video as a service. What we do is we wanted to, in a way, test out the demand and also like test out. I really believe that before you go and implement something into the product, especially it's a very complex feature, it's like first good to do it by hand and really go through all the motions, see like where problems crop up. You can still solve them by hands, it's probably unprofitable, but it's what you need to then go and like very confidently with a lot of conviction implement the feature into the product. And so we offered this. We had like really mixed feedback with this feature, because we had to like price it as something that somebody does and has to spend working there 2 working days on it. And we priced this like at $50 per frame. And we have people coming in, they're paying like a $50 subscription, right? And this is people who say, oh, this is like insanely expensive. I was not expecting that. And I think it is catching some people off guard. And it's, I think I probably would have done this differently if I would do it again. It's interesting learning. Just because I think it's such a price increase that I think is just a jarring way of a customer experience. Even though I think the price is legitimate, right? We can't really justify somebody, to pay that person, right? To do it, we can justify selling something for $20. It takes somebody like a day or 2 to make. And so that's currently how we're making videos. A customer makes the storyboard, and then we take that storyboard, and a videographer on our team then goes and makes it into a video using like a image to video model and adds everything together in Premiere, and also does some stuff in After Effects if necessary. And so that's what we want to productize. We want to build a feature where you actually just click a button. It's called turn the storyboard into a video editor, opens up. All the images already turns it into clips, already assembled into the timeline, so I can just play it. And then go in and start making adjustments. It's just like, I think the same principle as with storyboard, right? I think is really important is that you don't start with a blank canvas. So with the storyboard, we let you import a script, or if you don't have a script, just describe it in a couple of lines. We generate the script for you. So you can get started really fast, and you're more of a director saying, oh, I want to change this character. Not so much, kind of doing this from scratch. And we'll do the same with video. We'll let you just turn the entire storyboard into a video, and then let you trim and change the video and make adjustments and change the motion, change the camera, and add some music and voiceover, and then let you either play or export this. And so we see lots of potential, like different areas for this. Definitely they just want to make an ad creative, or they want to make some kind of like a video from a YouTube channel. It could be like an explainer video, could be an ad creative, or it can be used in place of a presentation. So a lot of our, let's say, agencies or like video productions today, when they pitch to a client or they want to get approval, some of them are already using stock video. They edit together and say, this is how it's going to look, because it is more engaging than a static storyboard. And for these people, we can replace that part and make a better, not really a montage, but this better, some people call it animatic, using generative AI. And so I see all these kind of use cases being relevant for this feature.
£50 a frame or $50 a frame versus per month subscription,
Mm.
it does seem very expensive. But I think when you look from the agency perspective, they're framing it against the cost of what it would have been. And then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more affordable.
Mm.
So perhaps it's a little bit of adjustment of the copy, so people know that this is a professional feature. It's not something for an everyday. If £50 stretching your budget now, you're not going to be able to afford this.
Yeah.
And let them know from the beginning, because it is. I've been there before. We spoke to a company. What were they called? Ordinary Folk.
Mm-hmm.
About making a video we saw them make for somebody, and we thought it was going to be about a £20,000 budget, and it was about 240,000 that they wanted. And obviously we were thinking for the project I was working on, 24,000 was a lot of money, but so when it was 240, it was crazy expensive. But I suppose for those types of people, your type of offering now, when it's coming in, it might be well below the 24,000 for it. So it would
For sure.
it should be a lot below. It would be a very interesting alternative, especially if it's 90% of the quality for 10% of the price.
Definitely. And we're working with some agencies that have much more complex projects and they want to do, and we still get in the couple thousand range. And it's not a problem with them at all because they know how much it costs. And shooting like this kind of an ad, 24,000, let's say pounds, this is nothing for a TV spot production. And so,
of course.
if they can come in with a production cost of less than 10,000 euros, this is extremely affordable. But I think the problem is that we have lots of users that maybe are just like freelancers or maybe they're just like enthusiasts and they create a storyboard and like a price pops up 600 euros. And they're like, this is insane. I think that's where we're offering this we're just offering this to everybody, right? And I think that's the mistake because they never intended to spend 600 euros on a video. And I think if they would spend anything, they'd probably spend less than 100 euros altogether. So I think that's why we caught them off guard. It's just some things that could have done better if we did it again.
The thing is with that type of thing, if you don't test, you don't know. And it's better for you now to know that actually the majority of our customers can't afford this. As it stands, we need to make some tweaks, some changes. Perhaps we can figure out how to offer a sort of intermediate type product where it is a lot more cost effective for people who can go and do it themselves and maintaining a similar quality standard. And then if not, then it's an adjustment to the way in which you display things, isn't it? Where this service has a please contact sales. And as soon as you see that button, you tend to know this is not going to be cheap. White gloves never cheap. Let's not do that today. So it's a good problem to solve, though. It's an indication that this offering does have a larger market later on when you're able to reduce the cost for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there anything else you would like to discuss or to add?
I think I just closed off with that. I think really our mission is making video production and storytelling more accessible. I think we're working with a lot of people that either they maybe don't have the skills, don't have the budget to hire somebody that has the skills, or maybe they just have some kind of impairment that prevents them from doing this type of stuff. And we really want to make generative AI more accessible to all these people so they can all create. I believe we all have stories to tell. As I said in the product have a video, whether it's a advertisement or it's a movie idea, or maybe it's just a story I want to tell about my family and my friend that is very emotional or personal to me. And we really want to reach as many people as possible. So I think I'd encourage everybody to try it out. We have a free trial available and it's like a small company, it's just starting out. We really appreciate anybody spreading the word and maybe connecting us with more people that could use it. It would benefit. Other than that, we also have a Discord community, and if you want to talk to us, feel free to join. We try to get back to everybody, and if you have any issues or any cool ideas, definitely interested to hear them out.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description for you, so for your social media and everywhere else you'd want people to find you. And then other than that, it's, I think, time for us to call it now.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me on. I hope this was useful for any information useful for your audience. I love talking about this stuff, so this was super fun for me. And I hope it was just as fun for you as well.
It was, Andraz. It's been a pleasure to have you on. And then perhaps in 6 months' time or whenever the video comes out, we can have you back on to discuss how that's changed the dynamics for you and your business related to the market and how this is moving forward. Because I think the AI full stop is part of our future now, whether you like it or not. And it's for us in this generation, we're able to say we're AI native. Let's make the most of it. And your tool certainly can help a lot of people make sense of that, because it's 6 months ago for me to go from even creating a storyboard was a nuisance. I can remember watching a video a long time ago about storyboarding and how you're supposed to break it down into the crazy eights and stuff. And I was terrible at it. So at least now I can say, make me something decent and the storyboard makes sense and the videos make, or the images make sense, and I can then say to somebody, here, this is a good idea of what I'm trying to create. Can you go and make it professionally now for me, please? Or as your tool develops the video. I wish you all the best, Andraz, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you. I hope we can talk about another success.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Andraz. Have a great day.
Likewise. Take care.